I know you thought about it once and then you probably thought about it twice. You don't think about it enough. How does the gasoline get into the gasoline tank? How does the grocery store get filled with milk? How do the things that we count on every day of our lives that we just take for granted, how do those things happen? Truck drivers, logistics, shipping. It's a whole world. It's not easy, but it's on purpose. It's under pressure. And we're going to talk about that next. Gray Silva of KAG, Keenan Advantage Group, next. Well, the heat is on. Let's get cooking. This is Purpose Under Pressure. It's a podcast about people just like you and me, business folk, people like you and me trying to get things done. We swing our feet out of bed in the morning, put them on the floor, and go get it. And sometimes those storms rise up, try to knock us down. Do we let that happen or do we stand tall? And what do we do when those pressures rise? That's what this show is all about. If you're back, thank you very much. This is, I think, the final episode of season 7. So thank you to everyone for coming back. That's how this has stuck around for so long. I'm excited about that, and I'm looking forward to season 8, but more on that later. If you are back and you get a chance and you haven't done so, please follow us or subscribe or tell a friend and help us get the word out about this show. It's how we're going to make a difference, and that's why we do it. So Purpose Under Pressure is brought to you in 7 seasons and 8 and hopefully even 9 moving forward by my good friends at Sandler by the Ruby Group. They're serving sales professionals nationwide from their Akron and Columbus, Ohio locations. They're also in Jacksonville, Florida. They provide sales training, business growth, business optimization strategies. They are our partner for 7 seasons because they care about purpose. They understand pressure, and they work hard to make those two things kind of work together in your favor. It's an amazing job to say that you're a salesperson. It's even better to say you're doing it on purpose. And folks, that's what Sandler by the Ruby Group is all about. So if you are the owner or the operator, administrator, sales manager of a performing sales team, and you think you might need a little help, I urge you to just give them a call. You don't have to buy a thing. I'm saying to you now, I bet it'll be the best call you make all day. You'll learn some stuff. So check out Sandler by the Ruby Group online at therubygroup.sandler.com. Speaking of the Ruby Group, I met our guest today through the Ruby Group a few years ago. I think it's at least 3 and it could be 15. I don't know. Time all runs together, but I'm excited for you to meet today Gray Silva. He's the Executive Vice President of Sales of KAG North America. That's Keenan Advantage Group, North America's largest liquid bulk carrier. You see their trucks all around. They are carrying important things for you and me. And I think, Gray, you have a little bit to say about that. So welcome to Purpose Under Pressure, my friend.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Well, thanks for having me. This is exciting, and appreciate the opportunity to talk about what's going on.
I'm really glad you're here. You know, this show is all about people that are overcoming things, and everybody's overcoming a different level of things, but we're all overcoming something or struggling to overcome something. And I know that in the logistics world and the trucking world, you've ridden the highs and you've ridden the lows. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Let's talk about the highs, though. I'm interested, Gray, in your success. I'm interested in the success of Keenan and KAG. Can you tell me a little bit about what's great right now for you guys and kind of what you do?
Yeah, what is great right now for KAG and the organization is we are actively growing. We are an acquisition hot company. We are out acquiring really best in class companies across North America and bringing them into the fold of what KAG has built and what we continue to build. So we're really excited about the opportunities that we have so far.
And how long have you been in that kind of a growth mode? Has that been always the goal of KAG, or is that something that's more recent?
Yeah, it's been a goal of KAG for the last 10 years. We have different stages of our growth opportunities, but we have been really actively growing in the last 10 years.
And tell folks what KAG is. Give me an idea of when I see the trucks, what's going on there?
Yeah, so Keenan Advantage Group is North America's largest liquid bulk carrier. We most notably haul things that most normal people use: gasoline products for your car, orange juice and milk at the grocery stores, raw products that make your pet food for adorable pets at home, as well as we're in the merchant gas space. That's cryogenics into hospitals, as well as your general chemicals that make consumer products.
You know, I want to know more about the business, but I have this question. When I'm on the road, when I'm driving down the highway and I'm passing trucks and that kind of thing, and there's some that are full of cows and there's some that are full of gasoline, and they're all different and doing their things, but they're all driving. What are the pressures that I, as a regular driver, ought to know that that truck driver is kind of dealing with? What are the pressures and the purpose that go in the life of a truck driver? Can you share that?
Sure can. Yeah. So our truck drivers, our professional truck drivers, go through an extensive amount of training. They go through not only just federal government training, but on-road training with our extensive safety crew. But the real thing that you should know about the truck drivers in America and in around the country and on the highways is that truck is their office. So as you're speeding around and honking and blowing your horn and being disruptive, they're actually in their office trying to get a job done. Most normal humans, as we are, and we're in offices or at home offices getting our job done via emails and phone calls. They're getting their job done by moving goods across America and goods across this country for all of us to consume and use and be part of.
Is there a certain level of pressure that is larger for them, for your guys, because they're carrying those maybe flammables and things of that sort? Or is it the same with any trucker that doesn't want to get in a wreck and wants to get there on time and on purpose?
Yeah, the critical thing about transportation of liquid products is there's a sloshing mechanism that happens inside the trailer. So if you've
Moving.
ever had a Coke bottle in your hand and you've sloshed it back and forth, you can feel the pressures as the product hits each side of the walls of the compartment. So as you're driving down the road and they're slamming on brakes or having to move lanes because of construction or accidents or whatever, there's a sloshing feel that happens in the trailer. So there's an overcompensation mechanism that these drivers use in order to keep that equipment down the road safely and upright. And we're very proud of what they do, and very proud of our team of professional truck drivers.
Yeah, you should be. You don't hear a lot of problems or accidents or anything of that sort in anything in the trucking industry. There are a bunch of professionals. My dad, God rest his soul, was a truck driver all of his life. He was so proud of his safety record. Like that was the most important thing to him for his entire career. And I know how important it is to truckers, and I know how important it is to you. So let's talk about this a little bit. It's up to you guys to make the world work. Like if I don't have gasoline, I'm in trouble. And
That's
so you
correct.
guys are getting things done. What are the pressures that come in with running a business that gets this done? What are the things that come along that you really have to overcome to make this go?
Yeah, so our business is a just-in-time inventory business, and what that means is, most companies in not just the gasoline world, but orange juice and milk and other product lines, they don't keep large amounts of inventory in hand. So what that means is when we're working towards plants or working towards gas stations, we are timing our deliveries as just in time in order for the product that we have to fit inside the compartments of the tanks that are either in the ground or above the ground, and allow the consumer or the plant to continue the production of everyday materials that we use throughout our general lives that we don't really think about when we go to pump gas. Where does it come from, or how does it get there, or how did the orange juice get on the shelf, or how does oxygen get pumped through a hospital? It just normal day-to-day stuff that a truck driver and trucking industry in general is fascinating. It makes the world go around. It really does.
So what are the pressures that come along with your job and with running your in the sales and the vice president role of KAG and Keenan Group? What are the pressures that have come that you've overcome or that are still there that people just kind of don't realize that you're dealing with?
Yeah, the day-to-day pressures are just keeping our customers, which are the customers who we deal with, keeping them happy from a standpoint of inventory levels and pricing levels at a constant, but also looking out and looking at our extended customer, who is the consumer of the products. Again, most consumers of the product don't know we're trucking, how the product got there, but they don't really care when it's not on the shelf or it's not in the tank at the gas station and they have to go to another place. So it's really taking the pressures are really making sure that our direct customer is also being able to market and support our indirect customer, which is the public. And when the public is unhappy, we see that those pressures come back towards the trucking space through our customers, and we have to really make sure that we're on top of that.
And I think, give me some examples of the things that can happen that you have to overcome. I think I know this much, which makes me just dangerous. But I think during COVID, we all remember that, things blew up for the logistics world. Like there was so much work that you had to do to kind of get things running and keep things moving. And it was a whole different world. And then I think as the economy switched, and you know more about this than me, hasn't it slowed down and made it very difficult in logistics? Can you explain those issues that you're kind of going through?
Yeah. So during COVID or at the start of COVID, there was a couple of factors that changed logistics forever. The first factor was most of the world went to a remote office mentality or a work from home policy. Well, that right there creates a downward spiral on gasoline sales and consumptions throughout the US. So our energy division lost almost 40% of their volume overnight.
Wow.
So we had that problem and that pressure basically immediately, where 40% of our truck drivers and our dispatchers and our mechanics and our people that worked in our energy division, we had to find something else to do with them. And we were unknown and uncertain about how long that would last. So that was the one of the problems that happened in our company. The other problem is some of our divisions ramped up. Our oxygen intake into hospitals ramped up. We were in what the industry calls a force majeure, an economic or an unknown situation that creates pressure on transportation. We had to move additional truck drivers and trucks into space in order to support oxygen delivers. We were getting escorted by police officers into hospitals in order to get oxygen off and support hospitals from running out of the critical component of COVID patients as we were fighting this battle. On the flip side, consumer spending changed. The work from home policy, a process and program, really drove people to eat more at home. So grocery stores became a lot hectic. Orange juice and milk and toilet paper and your general stuff that consumers use became hot commodities, so to speak, and as well as just the sanitizing components to keep everybody healthy. So there was ebbs and flows of our business. One side of our business dropped 40%, and we had to figure out what the pressures in order to not only maintain that fleet of drivers and people to keep them moving and not to have layoffs or et cetera. But on the other hand, we had to figure out a way in order to support the trucking and consumer spending industry in product lines that we weren't doing before. It was really a cool story. We virtually overnight, we have never hauled a box van, which is your typical distribution van that you see going into your grocery stores or your convenience or your super Walmarts, et cetera, delivering dry goods and dry package. And basically overnight, we were able to secure some contracts. My team went out and found some customers, secured some contracts, and we started moving dry van goods to help support the industry, but also to help support drivers that needed work in our company as well.
And so as you got over that hurdle, then what happened? Has it gone back to normal, or have some of those changes affected real change happening today? And then I want to find out what's going on in today's economy, because I know no one knows it better than logistics folks.
That's
So
right.
I'm interested in those two things.
Yeah, for a period of time, consumer spending and consumer confidence was down. So trucking was a bit soft, and then the ramp back out of the back half of COVID. So middle 2021, you saw the economy open up. You saw kind of the frustration levels of Americans and Canadians to not want to be locked down, to want to move around the country. So we saw spikes in gasoline demands, which at the time, gasoline refineries had shuttered their production to 20 or 30% down based on just where consumption of sales was. So to ramp back to normal day-to-day levels took a bit of time. So we had capacity issues, we had supply issues. So 21 and all of 2022, we saw the world and the economy just kind of flourish, and it really jumped up, and trucking became very tough. Consumer spending was high, which continues to stay a bit higher than it was pre-COVID. And goods to move goods were harder to do because we were trying to get the goods in from all over the world. You saw 2023 goods started to become a little more abundant. We were able to get more in from manufacturing overseas. The shipping vessels were on time, and you saw the economy. While it didn't slow, it consumer spending just leveled off, and trucking became a bit easier because you had a bit more capacity in the market based on just where consumer spending is. 2023, 2024, we saw consumer spending kind of flatline, and we've seen the trucking capacity, level itself out to a point where we're a little bit oversold in the marketplace, and there's a bit more capacity than there was in 2021 and 2022.
Is that much change in that kind of a time? I mean, you're nailing year by year by year. Has that been typical, or is that really recent?
Yeah, the 15 years that I've been in trucking, I have not seen a 4-year span like
Wow.
we have seen in the last since 2021. It is since basically this time in 2020. That span has changed drastically in 6 month spurts. Where the 2018 economy dip, we saw a little bit of a spurt, but we didn't see the longevity of it. It spiked back up in 2019, but this has been really a wild ride in the last 4 years.
So I don't know you well, but I know you as a man of purpose. And so I'm interested. What is that wild ride when you know so many people are depending on you, but you can only do so much? What does that do to a Gray Silva? What do you take home with you at night as you try to make sure you're doing the right thing in your workplace?
Everyone in the organization needs to know how to sell. Sales is the strength of any company. Whether or not you're in marketing, operations, or even finance, everyone has a strong shared accountability towards driving top-line revenue. Whether or not you're client-facing or talking over the phone, you're able to build a stronger level of rapport with the clients. Everyone in the organization shares that responsibility to know how to sell.
What does that do to a Gray Silva? What do you take home with you at night as you try to make sure you're doing the right thing in your workplace?
Yeah, Brian, it's a great question. During this whole process of 2020, we also built a commercial team that overlapped businesses and overlapped platforms. So in the midst of trying to support a business to stay afloat and to grow based on what our shareholders and our board wants, we were onboarding and changing the whole structure of a commercial group. So pressures have been high. It's fun though. It's taxing, but at the same time, I enjoy the lights on and the ability to have the last at bat with the ability to score the winning run. So I've always thrived, and I've always thought that's kind of one of my purposes is to be here to pick up the pieces and to help support where I can.
Yeah, and I know you're doing that. How has things changed with employment? I know for a long time there was hard to find truck drivers to take care of all the excess, the logistics, and things of that sort, and things have changed for them as well. So, how's that going for you guys?
Yeah, so truck drivers are still very hard to come by, but because the economy is a bit softer and transportation's a bit softer, you have a little more capacity. Truck drivers are a little more abundant, just based on that. But their average truck driver age is creeping into the mid 50s in the U.S.
Is it really?
It really is. We are not doing a good job of advertising in the public, and I wouldn't say from the transportation sector. The transportation sector is doing everything we can, but we're not doing a good job of advertising to our younger folks that being a truck driver is not a bad industry. It is a very hardworking, blue collar, as you mentioned, your dad truck driving.
Absolutely.
Very blue collared
Yep.
industry that is produces very quality, good people, and it's got a ton of quality, good people in it, and wants to be helpful, and it's going to be here for a long time. We don't do a good job as society to explain that trucking is safe. First off, it produces good, hardworking people. And it's a good way to earn a great living in this country.
Let's talk a little bit. What can you tell me about tariffs? So is that going to affect your industry specifically? And if so, how and why and if and could and who knows what's going on, right?
Yeah, watching a little bit today, obviously on the tariffs, but
I'm trying not to watch anything. I'm
yeah,
just asking people like you that know for sure.
that's right, that's right. I don't know for sure, and I'm not sure anybody knows for sure, but tariffs will have an effect in transportation. They'll have an effect in everybody's lives in some form or fashion. And most notably, that we're seeing right now is tariffs on steel and aluminum. Steel and aluminum are our driving factors of most of our trailer components and trailer builds. And then the tariffs on auto parts, which is also trucking parts. That's going to hold a kind of a big focal point for us as we go through the year. So we do see those particular tariffs hurting our business, our transportation business. It's too soon to understand how tariffs will affect our customers and their movement of products across the board. And we ship into Canada, and Canada ships into the U.S. We have a trucking company that we own in Canada that we move product back and forth on a day-to-day basis. So still unsure on that.
Yeah, Mike Jones
Yeah.
better than and I know him pretty well. And he taught me this phrase. He said, "Do the next right thing." And I think anytime you don't know what's going to happen, how it's going to affect you, really, what the next day looks like, when you have a decision to make, you do the next right thing. And I imagine that you're doing that. I'm interested, that whole COVID inspired last 3 or 4 or 5 years of rapid change. What have you learned the most that you're able to use moving forward for Keenan Advantage Group to help make sure that you stay on top of things moving forward?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we have learned from an organization and from what I've learned is just as that phrase says, do the next right thing. It's have an approach and do the right things when it comes to hard conversations. This has not been an easy, situation for any of us. But if we have a hard conversation that's full of honesty and compassion, and we're approaching it the right way from our organization to our customer and listening to our customers back to our organization, and we're fighting for the people inside of our own organization, then we've done the right thing. We can go home at night and we can feel good about what we've done, and we placed our people in the safest, most profitable piece of business they can be in, and we do the right thing. And I think that's what we have learned as an organization. That's what I have taught, and what I've learned from a commercial standpoint, and hopefully I'm teaching that to my commercial team, is that having a hard conversation is okay. And you'd wear it on your sleeve as a badge of honor and a little bit of emotions, but it's okay to have that hard conversation if you're doing it the right way.
This conversation reminds me of almost every conversation I have with small business owners. Now, Keenan is not considered a small business, but yet you're talking about doing things the right way and purpose and taking care of your guys. I mean, is it really different? Do you think you're on this big national, international, huge, and there's some mom and pops out there that are struggling too. Is it the same? It's just on a different level?
It is. It is.
Is it really?
And we might have a scale and a size that makes us a large company, but we interact and we work as a single trucking operational company. I was just having this conversation with customers, and while our scale and our size can be beneficial, it's also can be a detriment to us as well if we're not using our personal skills and just having the one-on-one hard conversations and good conversations. And that's a real big focal point, is to make sure that don't allow our size to make us unapproachable. Make sure we're approachable to the public, to our people internally, and to our customer base as well.
That's a really great message. Now you're in charge of sales, and I'm going to give you a chance to let people give you a call, but why would someone reach out to you right now? What kind of person would you like to reach out, and is it anybody that has a question, but what might they need to know that you might be able to help them with? And I'd like you to give their contact information.
Yeah, I'm available. I enjoy talking to people that don't know about trucking and don't know about the trucking industry. The public. I'm a big advocate of the public understanding what we do, right? Just like we talked about the truck driver being at his or her office as we're riding down the road. I'm a big proponent of advertising that story. If you're looking to do business with KAG, look to do business with a very high integrity company, a very good quality service company who will add technology advancements and good hard people. But we're not always going to be your cheapest. We're going to give you a different level of understanding of how we do things versus just being a price point for you and your organization.
And what kind of businesses would those be, to help me understand? Like, what kind of businesses need liquid hauling? Groceries? It's not grocery store, is it?
Well, it would be the grocery stores who have bottling plants
Okay,
for milk or juice,
I see.
or oils. Any of your olive oils or your palm oils. We call them exotic oils. We haul a lot of oils there.
Hmm,
We haul candle wax to candle wax manufacturers.
really?
So it would be anything that goes into a liquid bulk. Your food grade side, your chemical, consumer goods product side. As well as gas station owners or truck stop owners that need their liquid products moved into their facility.
And the website will get them to you. Is that the best way to reach out, or how
That's
would
right.
you suggest
Yep. Yep. www.thekag.com. So thekag.com.
that? Okay, great. What's the next challenge you're going to face as the senior vice president of vice president of sales at Keenan Advantage Group? What do you see coming up that you're going to have to overcome?
Yeah, the next challenges we're going to have to overcome is continuing to develop and grow people internally, talent specifically on my team. But that's an internal challenge that we have is the growth of our organization, and leaving the next group of people in the right spot to be successful. And from an external side, the growth and challenges is going to be just what the market is going to give us from a standpoint of consumer spending. How are we gonna get through this from a North America or a world economy standpoint, and where does our trust go from a spending and economic standpoint there?
I love that, folks. You just heard it. We talked about that a little bit. What's the difference between a major mega company and a small mom and pop? And the last word we just used was trust. And I think when you're dealing with a company like that, it counts on those things. You can't go wrong. And I don't think you can go wrong with talking with Gray. So, Gray, thank you very much for sharing this with us. I really appreciate your time.
Thanks, Bryan. Appreciate your time as well.
I mentioned in the show that my dad was a truck driver. He drove for UPS, so he was home every night, but he worked all day long hard. And he would come home smelling, and you'd have to, wait until he got out of the shower. And he would always talk about a hard day's work. And that trucker's life, that trucker's mentality is not just for truckers. It's for blue collar folks and office workers everywhere. But it's something to be proud of. And I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it today.
I am too, Bryan. Thank you for the time.
That's Gray Silva. He's the vice president of sales with Keenan North America, Keenan Advantage Group North America, largest liquid bulk carrier in North America. And he mentioned it, and it's true. How many times are you stuck behind a truck filling up the gas tank? All you do is pour up into the gas. You put a gas in, you drive off, and you don't even think about some of these things. And the logistics world is happening under our noses 24 hours a day. And here's to them, because without them and all the things that they do literally underneath our vision, we don't see it happening. It just happens. And that's a pretty amazing thing. And I tell you, it's a lot of purpose under a lot of pressure. And that's the name of our show. And thank you to Gray Silva. He's our guest on Purpose Under Pressure, brought to you by Sandler by the Ruby Group. Sellers are under pressure to perform. Sandler helps you to succeed on purpose. You'll find all past episodes, all 7 seasons, thank you very much, of Purpose Under Pressure at bryanmediastrategies.com/podcast and wherever you stream your favorite shows. We do this every week. We'll do this again next season, about 6 weeks from now. And we'll do so on purpose.